This afternoon that's come out in the Evening Standard is that Everton have told Arsenal it's going to cost them 60 million English pounds to sign Onana. They have set the fee. They've agreed to the fee and said, if you pay 60 million, he's your player. Do you see Arsenal parting with 60 million pounds sterling to land Onana? And is Onana the right midfielder to take that midfield of Arsenal forward in this title race?
League honor, north side, all Arteta outers, you were right. Arteta is fucking clueless. I think Arteta needs to get sacked immediately if Arsenal want to take their club to the next level, 100%. I think with this current situation, because Arsenal are in the Champions League and they're at where they're at, you can attract a Zidane or an Ancelotti or a Simeone or someone of the high level. Onana is an absolutely dreadful signing for Arsenal. One of the worst signings that I have seen in my lifetime if it happens. Onana is not an Arsenal midfielder at all. He's not press resistant. He's not good on the ball. He can't play a lone pivot. He is someone who is good on the counter-attack. You're a Man United fan. He probably suits you 100 times more than he suits Arsenal to play Man United style, which is, sit back a little bit, go a bit defensive, have that pace and power on the counter-attack. Onana is a horrible signing for Arsenal. And I think if Arsenal Football Club sign any player in this January window that is not a striker or a winger, then Arteta is just being stubborn and he's telling the whole world, I'm going to win the league with Martinelli, Saka and Jesus, which is not going to happen. So they need a striker, they need a forward, and Onana is an absolutely dreadful signing. And when I look at Amadou Onana, I keep saying Amadou Onana and the signing and the impact that he'll have on Arsenal, I don't even think he'll have any positive impact on Arsenal Football Club, even in the Champions League. Can you imagine Onana getting pressed by a Madrid midfielder or a City midfielder or an Inter Atletico midfielder? He would look so out of place. I have no idea what Arteta is doing all over the place. And this is just a dreadful signing for Arsenal Football Club. So for me, I'm looking at Onana, just not good enough for Arsenal. And not what Arsenal need to begin with. So, yeah. So 1 second, this guy has been commenting for the last 2 weeks. I want to tell him a new one. His comment is Arteta is better than Pep. This is the guy that wants to tell me.
You don't even need to come on now. You've said that. Now you've said
You've
that.
lost already.
What are you saying, my G? Come on now. Look, I understand what you're saying with Onana. I think Onana is a good signing. I do think their midfield needs some support. I suppose I look at it from two ways. Can they get a top quality strike? Can they actually get a top quality striker in? The answer is no. When the answer is yes, what do you mean by that?
Everyone has a price. Brentford are chatting shit. Call Brentford, offer 100 million, you win the league this season. Tony, that's all you need.
So you think this is this isn't a case of they don't have the money, they've got to wait until the summer. You think this is just a case of Arsenal being cheap and not doing what's required to win the league? You think this is just sort of PR nonsense? They're being cheap. They're going to buy maybe a 20 million pound alternative, probably come second, and then say, we kind of go again. You think it's all just excuses, really?
Yes, it's all excuses, 100%. I backed Arsenal at the start of the season to win the league. I was the only guy on Straight Facts to say Arsenal will win the league. So I already hold Arsenal to a very high regard, very high standard. I look at Arsenal Football Club right now, and I'll give you a prime example. See how I just defended Pochettino? The game against Liverpool in the first half, Arteta coached a 4-0. Let's all cut the crap here. Let's be honest. Havertz, Odegaard, Saka, Reece Nelson, all of them miss chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. That's not Arteta's fault. Arteta's fault is signing Havertz. Arteta's fault is looking at this team and thinking we don't need a forward. That's Arteta's fault. Now, okay, last season you scored 88 goals. You look at the current state of the squad. I'm like, okay, Martinelli got 2 goals in 18. Saka's not firing. Jesus is not firing. Nketiah is the second highest goal scorer after Saka, and he scored a hat-trick in one of them games. So obviously he's not doing well. So he needs a forward. And in football, there's 2 things I want to say here. First of all, they got enough players to sell. There's rumors that Palace wanting Nketiah for 30-40 million. Get rid of him. Ramsdale wants out anyway. Get rid of him. That's already 60-70 million you just made right there. So just put 20-30 million on top of it. Tony, structured plan over the next 4 or 5 years. He's only 28. He could probably play till he's 32, 33. Napoli are a selling club. They'd probably be willing to sell Osimhen. There are so many solutions for Arsenal to go out there and get someone who can come in and score goals and help them win this league. Because I look at Arsenal Football Club and they're a club 100% capable of winning the league. Saliba and Gabriel is a very good defensive partnership. The right back and left back are calm. Zinchenko is not a scapegoat. Stop scapegoating him. I think Rice has been the signing of the summer. I'm looking at Odegaard. He's woken up in the last 4 or 5 games. Like, he's creating. Saka needs a running mate. Get him that running mate. Like, even though I think he's a bit too predictable, he still needs someone to help him out. And the other 4 aren't helping him out, Trossard included. So they need a forward right now. And there is no such thing as Arsenal cannot get them. Because as we were speaking about right now, if you call John W. Henry right now and go like, are you going to sell Mo Salah? He'll tell you no. You call him after it by 5 minutes and go like, I'm going to wire you 500 million for Mo Salah. He's selling him. So everyone has a price in the world. If you call PSG right now and go like, here's 700 million, they're going to sell you Mbappe, as an example. I know obviously no one's going to pay that much money. But the point is, everyone has a price. Brentford are coming out and saying, oh my God, Tony's not up for sale, blah, blah, blah. Call them, offer them 70 million and Nketiah. So you have the replacement ready as well. How about that? Give them a player the other way as well. And Nketiah would actually do well at Brentford because that's his type of club. So there's always solutions. Napoli as well, themselves, they're a selling club. They're willing to sell anyone for the right price. Yes, they're a little bit stubborn to deal with, but they're willing to sell. So sell them. So there's always solutions. But, and by the way, Tony's low-key what they need because they need a player with a bit of swagger. Troops keeps telling me, Hussam, the problem is our players want to pass the ball into the back of the net. And I'm like, actually, when someone says something and you watch the club he's referring to and like it's instilled in your brain and you're watching it, you're like, yo, I actually get what he's saying. Reece Nelson got the ball. He was against Trent. He passed it back to Odegaard, who then passed it back to Rice, who then passed it back to Saliba. And I'm thinking, goodbye, man, I actually get what he's saying now. Because their left winger was 1-on-1 with my right back, and somehow the ball ended up in their center back. So these are all things. They don't have a forward with swagger to shoot, to try something, to take a risk. This is the problem.
Yeah, I listen, I get it. I just, where's the, you don't think, because it isn't just Arsenal. So many clubs are nowhere near spending any money this January. And I do feel as though clubs are fearful of FFP breaches after Everton got their 10-point deduction. There's a lot of rumours going around that the Premier League are showing their teeth because they want to build a precedent for the court case against Manchester City. They want to be able to show the adjudicators, should City be found guilty, and the Premier League issues a massive punishment, they want to be able to show, look, you get 10 points for breaching FFP rules when you've done it in an honest way. This team has lost 10 points for breaching it. They tried not to, but they still breached it. We want to take 50 points away because they cheated it. There's a lot of thoughts going around that's why because you actually look at this month, Man United done nothing, City done nothing, Liverpool, you guys, it's absolutely sparse in terms of even news and rumors around Liverpool. So it's not as though Arsenal are the only club who are not going out the way. Everyone thought you guys were going to go out and buy a DM. People expected City to maybe address some of the poor signings over the last few years. Man United definitely need a goal scorer. We haven't moved either. Now, we're not in the title race, so you could argue it's different for us. Maybe we can wait. But why are Arsenal the only team who are being dragged over the coals for saying they're not doing enough to win the league when other clubs, big clubs that are in the title race that were expected to buy more players are also doing nothing? Why is it only Arsenal who are being kind of called out?
Race? City and Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
Alongside Arsenal, essentially, City and Liverpool. You don't really think anyone else could win the league. By the way, I've already lambasted Spurs for doing the same thing earlier on, so I'm keeping the same energy. Spurs, mathematically speaking, are only 6 points above the top. Had they shown ambition, signed 2 world-class players, they could possibly win this league 100%. There is no crystal clear favorite right now. Now, when it comes to Arsenal, they're in a title race alongside 2 teams, Liverpool and Manchester City. Manchester City does not need to sign anyone. KDB is back. They've got Rodri. They've got Haaland. They've got Alvarez. They've got options in abundance. And, they've already spent 300 billion on their team anyway. So they don't need to sign players. Liverpool, you're saying, aren't getting lambasted, but they are getting lambasted. By myself, who's a Liverpool fan, by multiple Liverpool fans online. I've actually spoken to one of the guys I would consider a top red 2 days ago. And he was like, you're right, Hussam. Unless we can clone Joe Gomez and make 2 of him, we need to sign someone this January. And I will continue to lambast my owners for not showing enough ambition to want to win. This is just the fact, because it's on the ownership to now look at the current state of the team and go like, let me help out Klopp a little bit. Let me get a centre back. So I'm looking at Liverpool and I'm lambasting them. And I'm looking at Arsenal and I'm lambasting them. And I'm lambasting Tottenham Hotspur. All 3 clubs need to show ambition in January, or you could just kiss the Premier League goodbye and give it to Man City. Simple as. Because unless Martinelli finds the back of the net again and Saka and these guys, suddenly step up from now until June, unless suddenly Timo Werner scores 30 goals until June, or Liverpool have 0 injuries, we know that City are going to end up winning the league.
So I understand that. And I understand you're saying they should all do it. But every single club is reporting that they are very close to, it isn't actually FFP, it's profit and sustainability rules within the Premier League, but I think we all just refer to it as FFP. They're all reporting that they are flying very close to the wind in relation to that. They're right at the edge. So if Liverpool and Arsenal...
I don't think Liverpool are close to breaking FFP rules.
I'm just going by things that I've read. So if they're not, then they're not. But I'm saying these are things I'm reading in certain publications. If a team is close to breaching those rules, and the talk is that anyone who breaches it, end of this season, they're going to issue them with points deductions. Is it worth potentially breaking the rules and getting a points deduction? Is that the same as not trying to win the league? Because surely you don't want your team to breach the rules.
Yeah, but I've given you a solution, Terry. They have players that want to leave Arsenal, sell them. Nketiah, Crystal Palace. I'm not making up a rumor. They wanted him since the summer.
Have they bid? Have they bid yet?
But they want him. So let's say if you're desperate,
but they've got to bid. If they don't bid, there's nothing Arsenal can do, is there?
No, but if they refuse to sell him in the summer, then they're probably refusing to sell him now. So that's on the club for keeping Nketiah. That's another thing. For example, I'd blame Arteta. I know it's not just the owner's fault. It's also Arteta getting involved. So if there is some sort of FFP problem, there's 2 or 3 players that want out of Arsenal now. Get rid of them. Might as well just get rid of them now and get in your players. And by the way, when we get to May or June, Arsenal are going to be looking at signing a striker anyway. So why wait until May or June? If you are in a position now where we look at City and City aren't that strong or that amazing as they were last season, okay, take advantage. The problem is our clubs, and I say our clubs because my club is the same, it's just not taking advantage.
I do get it. Listen, and if the money's there and it turns out there are no FFP problems, and I completely agree. The issue that we have is, I understand there are certain fans of each. We all have a group of people that support our clubs who just say, no, it's PR nonsense. There is money we can spend. But when all the clubs are doing it at the same time, I just don't think it's as simplistic as clubs are refusing to spend. Man United just got new owners who have pumped in 1.6 billion. We're not going out. I think our situation's a little different. I actually don't want us, until we've sorted out our plan and our tactics and what we're going to do moving forward as a club, to drop £100 million on a player, because he might end up being the wrong player for what you decide to do as a football club. So contextually, I kind of understand it. You have to look at the situations as well. So Ivan Toney is a great example. What's your thoughts on the stories that have come out that he has told Brentford he is going to repay them for the faith in him during this tough time, with a player out injured, a player at AFCON, and then being in a relegation battle, that he has stated, I am going to stay here until the end of the season. What can Arsenal do? What can Liverpool do? What can Chelsea do? What can Spurs do about a player in that situation that says, I'm just not going to leave?
You know how you can repay Brentford? By giving them £100 million. You give them £100 million and a replacement for Ivan Toney, you have repaid them massively. Because how much did Brentford buy Toney for? How much did they get him for? That's an incredible question. So they would have made how much? Like probably 100% profit on his original price. Like not 100%, 1,000% actually. If they sell him for 100 million, I don't know how much they bought him for. I'm speculating here, but. Yeah, you could repay them by giving them 100 million in the owner's bank account to go buy a striker that would help keep you up. Simple as. And by the way, and Nketiah as an example, Nketiah is not even that. And I know people dislike Nketiah and he's crap and blah, blah, blah. Nketiah for a team like Brentford is not a bad signing. It is not a bad signing because Nketiah will score goals at Brentford. He's semi-clinical. You give him 2-3 chances, he bags one. That's what Brentford need. So they can replace Tony. They can improve their squad overall with 100 million. Because a club like Brentford, let's be real, will take that 100 million and buy 5 players.
Yeah, look, listen, I'm not suggesting I'm here to ask questions. I get where you're coming from. I just think there's something else at play, but obviously it depends on your disposition. You're either going to say my club didn't try hard enough. If you're sort of behind your club at this moment in time, you're probably going to say, no, we're being sensible, sustainable for the future. They've got to buy someone, though, Arsenal, as they're not going to win the league this year.
Onana is definitely not that someone.
Well, I think it's interesting because there have been Arsenal fans all year that have said that the left side of their midfield is a bigger issue to them than their attackers.
I think,
but at the same time, I thought that Saka and Martinelli would have clicked into gear by now for them as well. So I suppose you've got to weigh those.
Martinelli got 2 goals in
up.
18 games.
I know it's crazy. Who says who, Terry? Well, just watch our Arsenal match reactions and listen to what dozens and dozens of gooners have called in and said over the whole season. That's where I take, when I say Arsenal fans say this and Spurs fans say this, I'm talking about the people that super chat, comment on, and come on our shows. And if you watch all our content, you would see it. So watch more Football Terrace content, and you don't need to ask questions like that because it becomes almost self-explanatory.